Neville Goddard said, "Your imagination creates your reality." And in this episode of Philosophy Baxter, we're going to look at one of his ideas that supports this claim, which is found in the first chapter of his book, The Law and the Promise. So let's get started. Welcome to Philosophy Baxter, where we try and answer some of life's deepest questions through the lens of various philosophical ideas. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. It's great to see you again. And we are going to be looking at some proof that he gives for this claim in the first chapter of his book, The Law and the Promise. So today we're discussing Neville Goddard and his idea that our imagination creates our reality. We must intentionally cultivate beliefs and assumptions that align with what we want to create in our lives. By doing so, we can attract the people, resources, and opportunities necessary to bring our desires into reality. His teachings were based on the Bible, but he was not a traditional biblical literalist. But while there are similarities, there are also some important differences. While Neville Goddard acknowledged the importance of positive thinking, he didn't limit his teachings to that. For example, he talks about the idea of the imaginal cell, which is the part of our brain responsible for creating and perceiving images in our minds. He also discusses the role of the subconscious mind in shaping our reality, and he teaches that we can access our subconscious mind through our imagination, through visualization and imagination. They can vividly imagine themselves engaging in healthy activities such as exercising, eating nutritious foods, and getting enough sleep. Well, in Chapter 1, Neville Goddard offers a few intriguing ideas that, while not scientific proof, offer a compelling perspective. We often think that our memories accurately represent what happened in the past. But as Neville suggests, our memories can be incomplete, inaccurate, or even false. As we discussed earlier, our beliefs and assumptions shape our reality, but they are not always true or accurate. We may hold on to beliefs that were instilled in us from childhood that are no longer helpful or relevant. Or we may make assumptions about the world around us that are based on limited information. Our brains can fill in gaps in our memory with imagined details, and we may remember things differently each time we recall them. This raises questions about the nature of time and the reliability of our memories as a source of truth. First, he highlights the fact that our senses can deceive us. We often rely on our senses of sight, touch, smell, taste, and hearing to understand the world around us. Neville Goddard suggests that the only way to truly know what is real is to look within ourselves. He believed that we are all creators, and that we create our own reality through our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. And if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. By examining our own thoughts and beliefs, we can begin to understand the nature of reality and our place in it. However, as Neville points out, these senses can be fooled. His ideas encourage us to question what we think we know and to explore the depths of our own imaginations and creativity. For example, we can misperceive the size, shape, or color of an object, or we may hear sounds that are not actually there. This suggests that our understanding of reality is not always accurate, and that there may be more to our experience than what meets the senses. By consistently imagining themselves living a healthy lifestyle, they can reprogram their subconscious mind to believe that it is already true. Over time, this individual may find themselves naturally drawn to healthier choices, and their body begins to improve as a result. He teaches that our assumptions become our convictions, which in turn shape our reality. Neville Goddard believed that our imagination is a powerful tool that can be used to create our reality. Through our imagination, we can visualize and experience anything we desire. And by doing so, we can bring those desires into reality. He teaches that our imagination is connected to our subconscious mind, and by using it, we can access the limitless possibilities of the subconscious. Our beliefs have a profound impact on how we perceive the world around us and interact with it. If we believe that we are capable of achieving our goals, we will take actions that align with those beliefs. However, if we believe that we are limited or unworthy, our actions will reflect those beliefs, and we may never achieve our full potential. He believed that we can use the law of assumption to manifest both positive and negative outcomes. It's up to us to decide what we want to create in our lives. For example, the law of attraction teaches that like attracts like, meaning that we attract into our lives whatever we focus on, whether that be negative or positive. Whereas Neville Goddard's law of assumption is more specific. This requires a deliberate effort to shift our mindset and challenge our limiting beliefs. It also helps to surround ourselves with positive influences and seek out experiences that reinforce our desired beliefs. It states that we can consciously create our reality by assuming that our desires are already true and letting our subconscious minds work to manifest them. He interpreted the Bible metaphorically and believed that it contained spiritual truths that could help us live better lives and achieve greater things. Imagine someone who has been hurt in the past by another person, and now they assume that everyone is out to get them. They believe that everyone is untrustworthy and will eventually betray them. As a result, their reality becomes shaped by this belief, and they constantly find themselves in situations where people let them down or cause them pain. However, if they were to change their assumptions and start believing that good things will happen to them, their reality would begin to shift accordingly. They would start attracting positive experiences and people into their lives. Neville Goddard was a 20th century metaphysical teacher whose ideas have been quite influential within the New Thought movement. In Chapter 1, Neville Goddard introduces the concept of the law of assumption, which is a core principle in his teachings. He explains that there is a law of the subconscious mind that can be used to manifest our desires and shape our reality. According to Neville, when we assume something to be true, our subconscious mind accepts it as real, regardless of whether or not it corresponds with our current circumstances. This law states that our assumptions become our convictions, our beliefs, and ultimately our reality. So without further ado, let's dive into the ideas from Chapter 1. He illustrates this concept with an example. The key to manifesting our desires, according to Neville, is to use the law of assumption consciously. Now, I know this might sound like the law of attraction, and Neville Goddard is often mistakenly categorized alongside the New Age and the law of attraction. Another difference between the two is that the law of attraction often focuses on the idea of positive thinking. One of the main ideas that Neville Goddard emphasizes in this chapter is the power of our assumptions and beliefs. To overcome negative beliefs and assumptions, Neville Goddard suggests that we use the law of assumption to consciously replace them with positive ones. In addition to the law of assumption, Neville Goddard introduces other concepts in Chapter 1 that support his claim that our imagination creates our reality. By understanding these concepts and applying them to our lives, we can gain control over our imaginations and use them to create the reality we desire. Neville provides an example of someone who wants to improve their health. But why should you believe any of this? What evidence do we have that our imagination creates our reality? He then introduces the idea that our memories are not reliable sources of truth either. In addition to our senses and memories, Neville challenges our beliefs and assumptions as potential sources of truth. So if our senses, memories, beliefs, and assumptions are not reliable sources of truth, how can we know what is real? While Neville's ideas may not be considered scientific proof that our imagination creates our reality, they do offer a thought-provoking perspective on the nature of reality and the power of our minds. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider subscribing.